Hey everyone, back from the break just to show you what Rifkin really looks like.
Wow, zombie grab, you give away my secrets.
Oh my
That's
god.
not cool.
He also actually talks like this. Everything else has been a fake accent.
It's
It's a very long tongue. So I guess while we're back, we're actually the lobby's not ready, the games aren't ready. Feels bad, but had to show you the vampire.
What game are we getting into?
So we're waiting on Snute versus uThermal, which might finish or might continue on to game 3. I don't know. But the winner of that faces Major, and the winner of that is done for the day. So Showtime is also done for the day. We finally got a response about when the cutoff is. And it's the winners finals and the losers bracket round of 8. So that is round 5, if anyone has the bracket open. Wait, well, I mean, is it though? Round 8, actually. He didn't say round of 8. Oh, okay, so never mind. Now the loser bracket is a long way to go. My bad. Round 8 is the losers finals, basically. So actually exactly did for the server passport rather qualifiers. So at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ah, the sun is so bright.
4 or 5 matches left over, most likely, in this cast.
Hi.
And then tomorrow will be a shorter cast, I guess, earlier in the day.
Zombie grab.
What?
If something's bigger than a best of 3, is it a best of 5?
Oh, you held up your hand. I wasn't looking.
I have an equation for you.
Okay.
That's 4 plus 1.
5.
5.
He's been doing this while we were on break the entire time. I just want you all to know that. He's having so much fun with it.
I found how to do the expressions on some characters. This is great. This one's actually kind of adorable. You get like the anime girl to like blow her cheeks out. It's like frustration. If we don't get into a game soon, I'm gonna hold my breath until I die. I can't do it. It's so stupid.
Way to go. Oh, uThermal's out of game.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Raise your hands in the air like you just don't care, or just one hand because you can't do both at once. And then the other hand like you just don't care. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, God. Luckily, this is the winner's bracket, so I'm hopefully, you know,
Hey,
not
nice zombie
messaging
grab.
the loser. What?
High five.
No.
Come on.
No.
Don't leave me hanging. Too slow. Psh.
I don't need an invite.
Oh,
Damn.
she's got like a Day of the Dead makeup set.
Join, dummy.
Oh. Sorry, I'm clearly distracted with my outlandishly good looks.
So it's game 2, and Snute is up 1-0.
Nice.
And I'm ready to go. It's gonna be on Frost.
Hello, I'm a real human. Totally believe it. Look at these graphics. I don't look like I'm from Reboot in 2003.
Reboot. You're one step above Reboot. You're like Sims 2.
I'm like the user who was playing in Reboot. Game over. User wins. That's me.
So we have uThermal in the lobby, but someone else named uThermal's trying to join.
Yeah? Tell me more.
It's actually not the creepiest clown I've ever seen.
Who you calling a clown?
You?
I'll cut you. Don't think I won't. I killed my own mother.
Wow, this guy really tried to mimic what uThermal's account would look like if uThermal didn't care and called himself Euthermy and joined a clan called Danny F. Wow.
But uThermal's name is Euthermy, and he is in a clan called Danny F.
That's what I said. If you thought of what uThermal...
Oh, I see. I thought you meant the other guy's the one trying too hard is what you mean. Got it,
yes,
yeah.
yes. And the thing is that uThermal does not try hard at all. Oh, that was his mistake. Alright. Game number 2. There we go on Frost, and in the bottom left as the... I know. Okay. As the red Zerg, it's Snute's up 1.
And his opponent in the bottom right side, it's going to be the blue Terran player uThermal, who best seems to play against Snute when he's on match point against him.
That's a good point. So I might be able to bring it back. It's still a winner's bracket as well, so while it's never ideal to fall down to the loser's bracket, that is still an option for uThermal. They would fall down to round 6, I do believe. Yeah, so quite a ways to go. ZVT, cool. Snute has been looking pretty good in ZVP. ZVT, as always, is scary. And uThermal certainly had trouble in the past, as you said, though. Sometimes, like on the match points, when he goes Super Saiyan and really brings out the the best thing he can. But Snute, just especially on a big map like Frost, at least uThermal got horizontal spawns that are cross. But
I mean, the thing about uThermal that I find so interesting is he's fully capable of beating Snute, and Snute is fully capable of beating uThermal. And it's not to say any player is better than each other in this, but there's just so many extra things going for Snute where his basically clock is uThermal's greatest enemy, not necessarily Snute. So I'm wondering if there'll be that dynamic of Ultra. I mean, I don't know how that first game went, right? Maybe it was Ravagers and Roaches. Maybe it was Lings and Ultras. Snute's actually been varying up his play style a little bit lately. Maybe he thought he was getting too stale, or maybe just the Terrans we've been casting him against have dictated different styles to be required. Either way, he's no longer the one-trick pony, albeit that was one really good trick that we were seeing him be for the majority of early summer.
It was a really good trick. Anywho, the the game is really not underway, is it? I was so ready to finish this cast. I was like, it's gonna be like a good 4-hour cast, and then I realized that the losers bracket was not close to ending, and suddenly I just
don't think about it. That was your mistake.
It is. It's like you're at a sleepover and you feel fine, and you look at the clock and it's 4 a.m. and you're like, oh shit, and then you feel really, really bad. I shouldn't have done it. At least the games will be really good, and hopefully the loose bracket really goes smoothly. That's always the caster wish, I suppose. Third CC is on the way already for uThermal, so really not playing the way that, well, Bjorn would. You disappoint Bjorn, man. But it is still, like, whether it's the second fast racks or not, it's usually not a third CC too quickly. This is like the third or fourth time I've seen it in the last week. And so far, I'm not convinced of its merits. Just basically allowing the Zerg player to do whatever they want is a consequence of getting your own fast third CC. Just never seems like it's going to work out better for the Terran. But hey, maybe this is the game I'm wrong. Snute actually scouted it. This is another problem. Has existed since the beginning of time when third CC was even a thing in Wings of Liberty. You scout it, Zerg has a chance to deny it. If they scout it quick enough, of course. They can make a Baneling Nest, they can make a Roach Warren, they can go for it.
That was the worst thing. Like, if you went third CC in HOTS and someone scouted it, you knew the Baneling bust was coming. You knew that the game was maybe over already, but regardless of what type of attack is coming, Snute is gearing up for an attack. I mean, he's kind of slowed his roll there on the drones, and he's getting 11 Roaches on top of this. Yeah.
The thing about Roach-based all-ins, though, is that they don't hit hard, It's like, they might be a complete surprise, and it seems like they might just be, because uThermal doesn't have anything on the map, only just now sending a medevac over. But any indication that they're on the way, or you do react quick enough once you see the Roaches coming in, and they take forever to bust things down. They're not Banelings, they're not Corrosive Bile. Those are not Ravagers. And maybe you can survive with a bunker and a high ground advantage, you know? But it's still going to be hard. It's still going to be units, basically, versus no units. uThermal is going to really trick things up, though, with this drop. Oh, it's Scouts. It's going to go back. This is great. So he's already getting a tank. Now he just knows to set up in a good position. On top of the supply depot is not what I would call a good position. That's tricky. A Liberator's on the way. Maybe should have been a medevac. Well, oh no, he has a medevac. That's right. He's coming home.
Still, that tank position, not thrilled about. Hoping to bait them a little bit closer, maybe. Either way, there's no Ravagers with this, so he doesn't have to stay so far back, which is what I think he was afraid of. SCV's on hold position, not repairing the bunker. The bunker had no repairs going to that whatsoever. uThermal is starting to make some mistakes early on in this attack, but the tank should be enough to deal with the roaches. This high ground bunker should be enough to keep him alive in this game.
Liberator about to pop out, and the Ravager's only just forming, so Liberator should take him out.
The Liberator, yeah.
Yeah, repairing the tank is supposed to just keep doing the microweights because, well, there wasn't much on it. Lings do not get into the main mineral line. It looks like Snute did a... I don't know, I really didn't like that push. uThermal held it really well. Only 6 SCVs went down.
It didn't look like it was going to, though. I mean, the tank fired on top of the SCVs for the bunker. They all went down to red hell. None of them were repairing anything. It looked chaotic, but yeah, this ends up holding for uThermal in a situation where I thought he was going to be, frankly, maybe dead.
Huh? I never have very much faith in roach-based all-ins, to be honest. They're the ones that very rarely end the game, and at best-case scenario, you just do a lot of SCV damage. And even then, say that 20 SCVs, 30 SCVs went down, I truly believe in the power of medevacs and Terran comebacks. So the fact that it did pretty much nothing, I don't know. Snute wanted a quick game, and he's not going to get it. It's going to be probably a very painful game from here on out. This drop is of not really a whole lot of consequence. Looks like whatever it was it Liberator? Yeah, it was Liberator gets cleaned up in the main base. But uThermal, it's all about the fact that his production's going to be getting up. His 3rd CC shouldn't be hampered. Medevac does go down. But yeah, his 3rd CC, you know, just built a bunker there. He's desperately missing stim and combat shields. That's one thing that would have been made while the attack was happening. But he'll have it eventually. And it's still Snute who has to recover. It's still Snute that's down 10 workers.
Yeah, and his army supply actually suffered pretty bad off the back end of that attack. It's not terrible or anything right now, but keep in mind, these are like things like Lings and Roaches versus mobile tanks. Even with those upgrades, it's going to be hard to actually take a good fight. So maybe he sneaks in through an Overlord, maybe just catches uThermal out of position and not paying attention. Like the natural base might just be...
Tank is pretty well set up.
Yeah, he should be okay.
Snute commits, though. He's going to get 2 tanks for this. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. 5 more Marines or a medevac back at home, and the tanks do not die for sure, but that actually ended up being pretty well worth for a handful of just mineral-based Lings. Sporecoil is going to react very appropriately here, and Snute, he is like the master of defense. Usually that's because he has so many queens, but he's also just really good at reacting at different locations at once and splitting up his army. And he's showcasing that here, only taking minimal damage from that one drop. I guess it actually evens up the workers killed. Not great for Snute. But starting to spread out his creep, trying to get some tech. I'm sure he'll make some pretty smart decisions when the push finally comes, but I don't know how smart you can be if the units are just going to be better. Once again, culling the Marine numbers. He does have upgrades, and he's really trying to use them. This is working so much better than I think uThermal is even expecting, right? uThermal should have 2 tanks, 20-ish Marines, and, you know, all his production on the way now, and his upgrades finishing, and instead, while his upgrades are finishing, his army really isn't that fearsome. One tank is so much different than 3 tanks. That barely gives you leverage on, like, even one of the most abusive ledges in the game. It still is only somewhat effective.
Would that instead maybe be ledge fridge?
Yeah. I knew that was coming. Anyway.
Shut up, Rifkin. God damn it, God.
Snute has done a really great job recovering, is what I'm getting at. And uThermal, it is partly because of uThermal's fault. uThermal, like, he was starting to rally to the middle as opposed to being safe and rallying to his natural while building a bunker on his 3rd. You know, he could have played it a little bit safer and a little bit closer to the chest, but now he's trying to. He's got this wall off that has worked out very well in the past for him. I actually really like this, especially against someone like Snute, who doesn't usually go for mutas, where those would be free pickings. And oftentimes doesn't even go for Ling speed, or Ling upgrades. This is a very different TvZ, but I'm certain it is of the consequence of the early game decision to roach attack. When you think of Snute, you think of, you know, missile attack upgrades and Hive with Greater Spire. Now coming in here, he does have a decent army. I would not call it the greatest one, and certainly not a game-ending one. Yeah, just a little bit of poking, I suppose. This is 4th base for it, though, so that was really not an attack worth it. And I'd be very surprised if he thought it would ever do a lot of damage. But maybe he overestimated how many Lings he killed and how many tanks he killed with those earlier Ling run buys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the army supply is still, like, it's no one's really taking such a crazy lead in terms of army, right? This isn't like 100 supply down versus 50, but it is something where Snoot's upgrades, I think, are going to work really well for him for quite some time. I mean, it's a long time till that 2-2 evens out.
Yeah. Hey, this has been a game of Snute recovering, and he was doing a great job. Losing the 4th base sucks, but still not absolutely devastating, especially because he's adding in Infestors now. An Infestor, Queen, Ravager is exactly the style that he would want to get to in a regular game. It's a style that he does best with, and while it's odd to see him have melee upgrades because he's really not the Zerg player that's doing that, he's going for Missile, it still roughly comes up to the same, right? Corsair Bios don't need upgrades, Fungals don't need upgrades. His Ling counterattacks are just simply going to be stronger and more of them than they ever were in the past. That was actually one of the big faults of Snoot's style, is that if it got to the super, super long game, he would never have Lings, or if he did, they would not be powerful enough to really threaten, you know, run buys on the 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever. And now they're going to be super powerful. I'll be very interested to see when he goes for an Ultralisk Cavern or a Greater Spire, though. He has been a lot more on the Greater Spire, but no, it is going to be Ultralisk Cavern. He's played against uThermal so much, so often, that it might be one of these weird situations where uThermal is expecting a Greater Spire for once, because he's facing Snute specifically, and he'll actually be surprised of the Ultralisk Cavern if he doesn't scout it, whereas most other Zergs, you just predict the Ultralisk Cavern. But he does know the Hive is about done. Has not seen the Ultralisk Cavern, but oh, the Infestors! Oh god, there's nothing here to support the Infestors. They got the Fungals. Lings are over here. Lings are over here. And uThermal just walked into a great position. So Snute, he was banking so much. He thought he could get to Ultralisk. Loses a big chunk of army and is still having trouble cleaning this up.
Yeah, he's trying to get the hits on that Liberator. Remove that from the equation at the very least. Meanwhile, uThermal's pressuring him to the north side while this goes on, which is kind of nice. Like 3 Marauders, but it'll kill the hatchery.
He does need that hatchery now. Losing this 4th base was, you know, it wasn't even necessary because he could just left his army at home, but it was something he could deal with. I don't think he can deal with losing a 4th again. He just, he did just use his bank on the Ultralisk like he wanted, but now he has to use additional bank on Infestors that he should have already had with energy. And plating won't even be done. He's really gonna have to hope that uThermal just is scared of Ultralisk, which to be fair, he is, but... not scared enough.
Let's not forget, these speeds actually have a lot of transfuses. Normally, where these would melt without kindness plating, Snute might actually be able to keep them alive. I don't know, but the transfuse is being burned right now, trying to keep them alive. Ultra's now coming in from both sides. uThermal may have accidentally put himself in a pincer, but oh, that focus fire is too quick for even the transfuses to keep him alive. That kindness plating was way too necessary to the equation.
Yeah, oh my god, I just can't believe how fast they melted. GG!
Ties up the series 1-1.
Well done, dick butt.
Oh yeah, I forgot I went back to this one. So yeah, we'll get to this next game as quick as we can. I might have to make you solo cast this one though, if that's okay with you.
Me solo cast?
For a bit at least.
That's fine.
I have to BRB and take care of some stuff for my arm.
Okay, no problem.
I'm in the lobby if you want to try that. BRB, thank you!
Okay, bye. So, yeah, sorry, just taking care of other things. Galactic Process will be the last map here. Now, I didn't watch the first game. We didn't get to see the first game. Huey actually cast it, if you're paying attention over there. But, if I had to guess, alright, unless Snute is really, you know, purposefully trying to change up his style because the other one is being figured out, he probably went for what we know as, like, the almost unbeatable, like, looking type of style. The missile upgrades I was talking about, the Mass Queens, into maybe a Greater Spire if it went that long, but basically perfect defense. And then since he won that game, he went and did something a little bit more fun, a little bit different, like an all-in. He's done that before. In a best of 5, he was winning 2-0 super easily with this style, probably against uThermal, to be honest. These guys are always facing each other. And then the third game, he decides to do this really weird Ling counterattack thing. That turned into an all-in when he really shouldn't have, and it was weird, man. I don't know if Stu just like, he's like, oh, I'm winning, I'll just do whatever, or if he actually is like, okay, I'm winning, so let me try and end the game really quickly. Who knows? But it doesn't usually work out for him. So that might have just been an oddity, I suppose, of Snute's. That attack we saw that really did not do enough damage. Let's see what happens in Galactic Process. In the bottom left, as the red Zerg, he is Liquid Snute. Rightfully so, going for an early pool. In the top right, as the blue Terran, he is uThermal, and that wasn't there last time, was it? And on the front. Anyway, so yeah, I said rightfully so going for a spawning pool first, and that's because it's Galactic Process and it's uThermal. So if it's Frozen Temple and it's uThermal, same thing should happen. You predict Reapers. Now, uThermal is so good with Reapers that he can use them and then macro out of them, and that's also another reason, oh, whoopsie, to be so scared of it, is that, like, it's not that they're putting all of his eggs in one all-in basket, he's just opening with it. So you always gotta be very careful, because it can also still kill you. But I guess uThermal is getting too hard countered. He's not getting damage he wants. The macro game beyond the failed 3x Reaper is getting too difficult. He's not going to go for it this game. Just goes to the Reaper expand. We'll see what he follows up with. Last game, had he gone for the second racks really early, that typical build that we see from the likes of Byun and a lot of the Korean Terrans, he has units, but not the same type, right? You know, if Lings gets the surround on his handful of Marines, the Roaches might still kill him. A tank and a Liberator, especially with a Medevac, is going to be much better against a Roach attack. So maybe that's another thing that Snute was predicting was going to happen. Point is, it didn't. uThermal pretty much had the exact anti-all-in build that you would want that includes a tank. Think back to Heart of the Swarm, same thing, Wings of Liberty, same thing. And Snute just had to kind of fall over and die. I wondered if he's going to do something different here. He's not. He is going for, once again, that factory, so playing a very safe style to add on that third CC. So his third CC will survive. It won't kill him. But I brought it up last game. Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. And by Fire Nation, I mean Snute attacked. Because Snute was trying to take advantage of the third CC in a different way. He was trying to kill him for taking a third CC. When what I was talking about is basically scout or no scout on the third CC. Oh, that looked really odd. Snute's gonna lose his Lings. So yeah, scout or no scout. If Snute just plays like normal, you know, and especially if he scouts the third CC, even a little bit greedier, I think the greed of the Zerg will outpower the greed of the Terran. Especially a Zerg like Snute, who's already so good at defending. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the sudden burst of Terran units will come at such a, a bit faster and a bit more that Snute's perfect defense, just enough queens, just enough roaches, won't work because there is a faster third CC. That's what we're going to be looking for, basically, whenever that push does come. But until then, it is just this macro game, right? A couple Lings, it's a little annoying. Let's get us to SCV. Roach Warren is down along with only one evolution chamber, so if I had to guess, it's going to be for Carapace. It seems that sometimes it just looks like the Zerg, and multiple Zergs, not just Snute, have realized that if their whole...
Game paused.
Okay. Thank God I'm not referee. If the whole idea of their style is to play defensive, well, that sucks. Especially sucks because there's no recover game. Yeah, if their whole style is defensive, and it's just about buying time until you get to Greater Spire or better upgrades, then why do you really need attack in the first place? All you're doing is keeping units alive as you deal with multiple pressure points. So Carapace and then the gas and the minerals that would go into an attack upgrade go into more roaches, just more numbers, or into a faster hive, or, you know, whatever. Right click only works half the time. I can't get into the medevac. Well, hopefully plugging it back in works. That usually does. As I said, I don't think recover game is working still. Nothing much has happened in this game, but it is still like almost 5 minutes in. You don't want to restart the game entirely. Thank you to Halion9213 for the 15-month resub. 15, by the way, the coin and letter arrived. Great. Glad to hear it. Whew. Throat's starting to hurt a little. Because I was going to check the bracket, and then I got distracted on Twitter, of course. So Showtime is done for today. He made it to the finals. The winner of this will face Major, and whoever wins that will be done for the day. Losers bracket still going along. Finally got that little hiccup between Rainer and whoever it was over and done with. So Violet's waiting for Rainer Wellmu. There we go. Hearthstone Lambo is going on. Winner of that faces Namshar. Drogo faces the ever elusive Just Number. Number 1381. Face some guy named Origin who beat Hydra. And Yogo. I don't know who that is. Face on going to face Marine Lord. Bly beat DNS. It is facing a laser right now. And things are moving along swimmingly. No winners, finals, and losers, finals tomorrow. So if you weren't around, I guess that's a TLDR for you guys as well. They're going to stop as they did in the Passport qualifiers, which is basically the top 4. Top 2 from winners, top 2 from losers. I don't know why I want to say it that way, but whatever. You know. Here's where I talk about the ever-reliability that is Corsair gaming mouse. This is not broken on me. Legitimately, I really like the Zowie Miko, however you say it. That had one glaring fault where it would occasionally do like this kind of jump, and that's been a known fault. It usually doesn't affect it that much that like you have to worry. People still like the size of it and the simplicity of it. I got a Qatar, which is about the same size now from Corsair. It's actually pretty good. Not to fully go all the sellout mode here, but... Game resumed. Alright, hopefully uThermal's got it fully fixed. Not to use the right click is a pretty big deal. I guess we missed a couple of lanes going in here, but he walled off, so... Right, I was talking about the Carapace upgrade. I think like... Okay, he didn't get it fixed. I think like 6 months ago, you were having these all-ins with Roach Ravagers. I mean, you're having Roach Ravager all-ins all the flippin' time, whether you're Protoss or Terran. But those would also include only one upgrade. Pretty sure that's not what Snute's going for. Although that's, it's basically that all-in, that style playing Roach Ravager, it's what it should be now. 6 months ago, it was like what everyone was doing, and you just got bored of it. And it was like, how do you ever survive it without tank vacs? And there was that whole issue. But now it's used as the occasional, oh, psych, I'm going to surprise you, what do you think of playing macro? And that's what I think what it should be designated to. Just the once-off games. Oh. I don't know, does anyone use Precision? The help, like, mouse... I think it's called mouse pointer precision, I think is the thing that you click and unclick. It's automatic on everything, on all computers, and computer or mouse, whatchamacallits, drivers, there we go. I go to like a LAN center occasionally, and it's also a default on there, so you always have to uncheck. I don't know who uses it. It doesn't seem to help. Is it just for, like, regular plebs that use the computer? Do, like, first-person shooters get something from it? I have no idea. But no one likes using it in StarCraft. tell you that much. He'd rather play with the old one that only has the right click work occasionally than play with one that he has to fiddle around with the mouse settings. It's fair. Oh, big stretch. The good news is this isn't holding anything up, so I mean, the loser's bracket's still continuing along, and I guess the only person they're holding up is Major. Well, it looks a little bit silly to split this up into 2 days when tomorrow might only have, like, 3 matches. When you really consider how long people are going to be waiting, it kind of makes sense. Like, Showtime, should he have won his finals, we'd be waiting a long time in the grand final, because the grand final have to wait for the losers' finals to end, and that would take hours. Like, literally 1 or 2 hours. So, it's a better way to do it. Tomorrow will be a double day then, of course, because tomorrow will be the end of these qualifiers, as well as the beginning of the North American qualifiers. I finally have some action going along here. Wouldn't Mind drop commences, and we'll get a single drone. Oh, I got 2. Oh, that poor drone. And a couple of lings as well, so, oh, uh-oh, maybe more drones than I thought. He's gonna get a queen. He's gonna lose the medevac, though. And another drone. A queen and 4 drones, I want to say. Oh, more than that. 6, 7. I think the Reaper got one, which is why I'm counting. That was more than that should have done, for sure. Snute is usually on top of that type of drop, no problem. Usually the queens are over there. And, well, this time, not so much. He was a couple queens shy of a full defense. Does that mess him up? Not really. Does uThermal have a follow-up? Not really. So, I mean, it's not really all that important in the grand scheme of things. But, you know, that might be uThermal saying, like, hey, wait a minute, maybe your perfect defense isn't so perfect after all, and the future attack I'm thinking of is actually going to do some damage. Because sometimes you get instantly denied on your early game aggression, and you're just like, well, what do I do? I don't understand this matchup. I feel like uThermal goes between perfectly understanding this matchup and having no idea, by the way, just by his, like, thoughts on Twitter. It's actually usually pretty good, though. So, Liberator now sieges up here. Maybe gets, I think, 2 more drones? Like a larva? Yeah, something like that. Roach speed's finally on the way as the layer finished up. Infestation Pit immediately slapped down, and now he's going to add on a second upgrade as well, but again, the emphasis being on the Carapace upgrade. As I was talking about last game, Snute does something a little bit different than most other Zergs, even though last game he did exactly what other Zergs do, which is go for Ultralisk. Snute does the Fast Hive, sure, relatively Fast Hive, but he gets the upgrades for the Roaches, so sometimes 3/3 of missile attacks, but then a Greater Spire as another option. So we'll see what he does when he throws on the Spire. Ideally, if you can afford it while defending, you go for the Spire with the Hive, so it times out for the Greater Spire, but sometimes we see Snute, I guess, not think he can afford it, and get the Spire only after the Hive is done. But even without a Greater Spire, even without that Tier 3 tech, Roach, Ravager, and Fester, with appropriately comboed Fungals and Corrosive Biles, it'll do wonders anyway. uThermal's gonna try and get some drops going in. This has 1 tank, which is very odd. I would think this is just a cleanup crew, especially if I was Snute, but oh, I get it. I see. It's a clever. It's a clever boy. Cool. All right. So there is an entrance up here, but no matter how you look at it, it's going to be a bit of a choke, right? And tank's gonna take advantage of that on that ledge. It's really quite cool. Liberator's cleaned up in the bottom right, and this isn't the most insane damage. In fact, it probably should be moved up a little bit forward, because I think you can get it to touch the hatchery. But this is very much so harassment. Like, it includes a tank, which makes it look more dedicated than it really is. It's not. You lose Marines over there? Oh. That's bad. I guess because you picked up the tank in tank form. Yep. 2-2 is on the way for uThermal, but you can clearly see that it's way behind the +2 Carapace. If Snute had immediately started a Hive, which I'm a little surprised he hasn't. He has the minerals and the gas. You know, there's not going to be this sick 2-2 timing. Sim and Combat Shields are only just finished. I'm still waiting on that hive. Snute has the creep. He has a 5th base on the way. I guess creep could be like a little better. In fact, yeah. Creep, I think, should probably be up on the high ground if you're really thinking about ideal Zerg, but okay, anyway. There's the hive. There it is. As uThermal pushes out. uThermal's 2-2 again, only halfway done. He's not hitting some sick timing here. But because the hive was delayed a good 30-45 seconds, he might be able to hit it still before hive is not done, but, you know, showcasing whatever he wants from the hive, whether it's Ultra's Cavern or Vipers or Greater Spire. Without upgrades, this is still a scary push from uThermal because the tank count has never been decreased. You know, the tanks didn't die like last game. So 4 tanks abusing ledges is always going to be difficult for Zergs to take care of. There is definitely an opportunity on Cloud Kingdom, however, to get full surrounds, and that's kind of what Snute's looking for, as you can see, trying to get full surrounds here, but where are those Fungals? Fungals are not really with any part of the army, but maybe it doesn't matter. The Roach Ravager count's still doing quite well, and remember, upgrades in favor of Snute's, but the tanks took over this side first, and then they came over to this side, and Snute had to back off. I'm really surprised they didn't have those Fungals on the right side. Like, super, super surprised. And now the 2-2 is finished, as the hive does. 4th base goes down. Snute could transfer the drones over here. But Snute's, he had a good surround. He was missing spellcasts, though. That's very unlike Snute's, gonna be honest. He traded okay, and the armor's probably still even. It just, I thought it could have gone better. uThermal tries to snipe the infestors, gets one of them. The other one still has a fungal ready to go. What's it gonna look for? It looks for the tanks, which is not a bad plan at all. Gets 2 of them. Almost gets 3 of them. Looks like he will be able to push this back in the end. But after losing a base and quite a lot of his gas, I guess, in his bank here. So replacing those infestors he lost will not be so easy, and now he's losing his roach fodder. When the roaches are gone, Ravagers go down very quickly after that, and Snute might be over-dedicating to pushing uThermal back. Uh-oh. This is actually... Ooh, this is really close. Oh, yeah, but Ravagers don't hold up that long. And they, I mean, for the last, like, 30 seconds, they've been at a upgrade disadvantage. Snute, I'm not sure why he pushed forward like that. I mean, I know why he wanted to. Like, in an ideal world, you literally push the Terran back all the way so then you can think about what you get from your hive. But that wasn't going to happen with only Ravagers. He should have backed off. Snute's still holding strong with the army supply and not too many tanks left over. In fact, uThermal's army supply really a lot in those medevacs, which one good fungal could tear all of them down, but no fungals available. No infestors have been made, and he's still low on that gas. It did, I think he took him some time to replace the gases that he lost at his 4th with his 5th. He's gonna go in again, but his army is just not that powerful without infestors. It's really not. Even though he's up 20 army supply, still, uThermal's looks better. If it had any more tanks, you know, it would look fantastic, but it's about to have upgrades. At this point, Snute is supposed to have pushed the Terran entirely back on his way to Aspire with 3-3 on the way, and instead he's in danger of losing another base. uThermal's momentum is pretty strong, but keep in mind, uThermal is only off of 3 bases, no 4th base to be seen, I don't believe, not even waiting to be transferred over. So all in isn't quite the right word, because he is doing some pretty good damage. This would have been, I think, tap out. Well, not quite tap out. This would be, like, really game if he had a 4th base and a 5th on the way, you know? If he had, like, a huge bank behind this. But as it is, it's still a tug of war that uThermal could lose. If Snute ever gets good Corrosive Bile hits, if he can ever get an Infestor out, still very, very close. He has to be very careful. Eventually, his main command center will move over, but it's not, still never quite the same thing. 3-3 is done. More tanks are being rallied here. It's not the strongest rally you've ever seen, but he doesn't really have to rally forward any more medevacs. And his Marauder count is still pretty strong. Liberator's not adding a ton here, but Snute can't go up a ramp against... Even one tank is adding too much damage. This is still so close, but Snute's Ravager count has certainly grown. Again, if only there was like 1 or 2 infestors. He might be able to push this back. One misstep on the medevacs too, and that's just it. In fact, I think he already lost like 2 or 3. Now down to 6. Oh boy, this is very, very close. Snute is out of that bank though, and in fact now banking gas might look for infestors. Queens are on the way, just anything he can produce. He does have larva, but it's like Queens are tanky, they can transfuse, they're gonna keep the Ravagers alive. Queen's good unit. They can take out the Medivacs too if the Corsair Bios can't. Still not looking towards those infestors. Gotta make sure he had the M6 but still alive, because I think that would be. There we go. Now he thinks he can afford him. I'm sure he was thinking about him, but just thinking he couldn't afford it. They do not have pathogen glands as well, so even though he gets them now, it's gonna be a while before they're very useful. uThermal does take the 4th base with his orbital here. Drones being transferred. Oh, there's a lot of tanks getting the liberators. Tanks are forced to back off. Very careful stuff here. uThermal might be getting a little too complacent with a lack of infestors, by the way. He's dodging Corrosive Biles okay, but his army is awfully clumped up. The infestors do pop, but no fungals yet. Oh man, imagine if Snute had just like 10 lings run in somewhere right now. Oh, 2-2 to 3-3. Always gotta keep that in mind. But even without the upgrades, the tank count has gotten to that really fearsome 4 now. 1 was adding so much, but now with 4, and they're so close too. His army's just taking so much damage. He does have enough for a fungal. He's gonna go for the fungal. Doesn't quite hit. He has another one ready to go. uThermal did see it and was able to split though, and now he'll be definitely on top of his splits here. Snute has to decide between trying to get a good fungal in the army or trying to almost guaranteed fungal the tanks. That's a reach right there. Natural not being taken as at the goal, and I think Snute is just going to lose the momentum game unless he can break him here and now. Gonna go for it, but that one infestor I think was sniped. Oh no, so no fungals. No roaches to cover his Ravagers anymore. The tank's still alive, Liberator's still alive, and uThermal has done it. That's it. I mean, he has really good economy behind this. Snute has just used up his entire army. He did manage to get this base in the bottom right, but that doesn't matter. GG. Dang, uThermal with that rally.
It's when he's down in a series versus Snute. It's when he plays the best against Snute.
Ah, clearly. Well, that's going to send Snute into the losers bracket, and uThermal to face off against Major in the winter semis.
Nice drop solo casting, by the way. Sorry, I came back like a little bit ago. Figured didn't want to butt in.
Okay. Dick butt in.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's Major then Showtime. Oh, so it's a TVP finals guaranteed.
That's true.
Which we will not be casting today.
Correct. Alright, we're going to go to a break while we get that set up. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.